region, and I'm from Region 2 under the Thunder Bay Métis Council. And this evening I've been asked to speak on flags and on the Métis sash. So for those that are familiar with the Big Bang Theory, I'm just going to say, as Sheldon would say, welcome to Fun with Flags. So, as you see, I hope everyone can see the Métis flag in my background. I have the traditional Métis flag. It is the blue with the white infinity symbol. So, the Métis flag was first used by Métis, the resistance fighters, prior to the Battle of the Seven Oaks in 1816. It is the oldest Canadian patriotic flag indigenous to Canada. And the Union Jack and the Royal Standard of New France bearing the fleur-de-lis are older, but these flags were first flown in Europe. As a symbol of nationhood, the Métis flag predates Canada's maple leaf flag by about 150 years. The flag bears a horizontal figure 8 or infinity symbol, as you can see.
What?
The infinity symbol represents the coming together of two distinct and vibrant cultures, those of European and Indigenous North America, to produce a distinctly new culture, the Métis. The flag symbolizes the creation of a new society with roots in both Aboriginal and European cultures and traditions. The sky blue background of the flag emphasizes the infinity symbol and suggests that the Métis people will exist forever. The Métis flag has two variants, the more popular blue flag and the red flag. And nobody really knows why the early Métis chose those two color patterns for their flags. However, it seems to indicate that the Métis created the blue and white infinity flag because these were the colors of the Northwest Company, the fur trading firm which employed most of the French Michif-speaking Métis. The blue Métis infinity flag bears a striking resemblance to the blue and white flag of St. Andrew, the national flag of Scotland. The blue and the white colors of the Métis flag are also the traditional colors of French Canada. That the creators of the infinity flag may have had some Scottish and French Canadian input when creating their flags is not surprising, because these two groups dominated the Northwest Company and had the most Métis descendants. However, the flag was uniquely Métis and was recognized as such. The red Métis flag may have been created by Métis employees of the Hudson's Bay Company. The traditional colors of the fur trade giant were red and white. Neither the blue and white nor the red and white flag was used by the Métis during the two great resistance movements of 1869 and 1870 and 1885. During this time, the Métis used flags which contained French Canadian and Catholic religious symbols. The Métis infinity flag was temporarily forgotten and remembered only in oral tradition. But with the rebirth of Métis pride and the consciousness, the flag was brought back. Today, the flag remains a potent symbol of Métis heritage. So I'm going to speak a little bit to the design. So the flag shows a white infinity symbol on a field of either blue or red. And there are many interpretations of what the colors and symbols mean. Several origins and meanings have been suggested for the infinity symbol flag. So one of them is the faith that Métis culture shall live on forever, and the mixing of the European immigrants and the First Nation peoples, with the two conjoined circles symbolizing the unity of two cultures. Another possible interpretation of the infinity symbol is that it relates to traditional Métis dances, such as, and I hope I'm pronouncing most of these correct, as the quadrille, in which dancers move in a figure-8 pattern. There might also be a connection to Celtic knotwork and Scottish influences that include Celtic knots, figure of 8 in Scottish country dance, jewelry, etc. Others have suggested that the symbol is derived from the Plains First Nations sign language for Métis, reported as the symbol for cart, combined with the symbol for man, in reference to the Métis and the use of the Red River cart, with the symbol for cart being formed by joining the thumb and the forefinger to each hand, with the hands held together in 2 circles. So there has been some debate about the historical interpretations and the colors of the Métis flag. Some claim that the red background represents the colors of the Hudson's Bay Company and that the blue background represents the Northwest Company. Others argue that the blue flag represents the Francophone Métis and the red flag represents the Anglophone Métis. Still, others argue that the blue and white combination is based on both the flag of Scotland and the traditional colors of Quebec. And yet others have said that the red flag is for Manitoba and the Northwest Territory Métis, and the blue is for the Saskatchewan Métis. And now Saskatchewan, sighting of the red flag is what now Saskatchewan, and the blue flag first being recorded is what is now Manitoba. Another explanation for the colors of the flag is that they depend on how the flag is being used. Some argue that the red flag is the Métis hunting flag, letting the people around them know that they were a hunting party and they were not at war. And the guide for the day, which means the person leading the hunt, would be the flag bearer. But sometimes, due to the potential for skirmishes or battles on the bison hunting trips, because there was more than just the Métis that were out there hunting, the blue flag could serve as a standard. So that meant that if it was stuck in the ground, then or held up, people could see, the other people on the plains could see that this was Métis and they were out hunting, and they would understand that. Some have also suggested that the flag started out as someone's attempt to design a flag for the Métis and was putting out feelers to trial a design, which is why they're both red and blue flags, with the common feature being the white infinity symbol. In 1815, popular fabrics in trading posts that were available were calico, corduroy, plaid, and stroud. Stroud is a woolen felt-like broadcloth commonly used in making coats, was the only suitable material available for making flags. The common colors that were available at the time were green, red, and blue. As a matter of practicality, the Métis would have used the material that was available to them for making flags. When they needed to make a new flag, they simply purchased the material that was available, and if red was not available, they might have chosen to use blue instead. Rather than a strategic ideology decision to align the colors, with particular trading companies, the assertion is that the color was a reaction to whatever was practical in at that time and location. And the blue background flag has been accepted by the Métis National Council as the official flag of the Métis Nation in 2013. The Métis National Council secured an official mark for the flag to protect it as a symbol of the Métis Nation and ensures its collective ownership by citizens of the Métis Nation. Now I'll just go on to the Assembly of Assiniboia. So the provisional government, the Legislative Assembly of Assiniboia, established by the Métis under Louis Riel, and I have on Louis's t-shirt right here. On December the 8th, 1869, flew a flag, but there were numerous descriptions of the flag that was flown by the provisional government. So some of the flags, these are some of the descriptions that people gave. So the flag was a fleur-de-lis and a shamrock on a white background. Another was a gold fleur-de-lis on a white background. A golden fleur-de-lis with a black border with a white background, a fleur-de-lis, shamrock, and a small bison on the fly on a white background. 3 fleur-de-lis across the top and a shamrock on the center of the bottom edge of the white background. A fleur-de-lis and a shamrock with a large bison on the lower part background. A fleur-de-lis with a small bison in one corner on a white background. A
Just say my brother's name.
With a green harp and shamrock on a white background with a gold border. 3 crosses, a large scarlet colored cross in the center, flanked by 2 smaller gold crosses on a white background. Or a fleur-de-lis and shamrocks arranged on a bison on a white background. So as you see, there are many interpretations of flags that were flown or different flags that were available to be flown early. And I think that is my part of fun with flags. I will now move on to the sash. And I'm just going to, as I had indicated, I don't know if people can see, I have on my Louis Riel t-shirt. It is Louis Riel Day. That is November the 16th coming up for everyone to remember. To participate in activities, either online with the MNO or within your council areas. And I'm referring to Louis Riel because Louis Riel is in my family ancestry, 6 generations back. And one of the sashes that I have here is the sash that Louis Riel, it's a replica, of course, that Louis Riel wore. And it is called the Coventry style sash. So I do have some different sashes to show you, but right now I'm just going to give you some information. The sash is a finger woven belt made of brightly colored wool and or plant fibers, approximately 3 meters long. This technique is also used to create garters. Now, a garter is a smaller item or smaller weave that is used, and I will explain what some of the different uses are. But for now, I will just put this here. So you wrap your sash, and I will demonstrate this after I've done the presentation. You wrap the sash around your midsection, and the sash was used to carry belongings during the fur trade duties, but the sash has many, many uses. And when they say that it was used to carry belongings, the voyageurs or the Métis would always have two. That would be the minimal that they would have, the minimum. They would have one that they would wrap around their waists. And this was used because they had so many, the weight of their goods and the furs that they were trading when they had to portage from trade. One that was on the wrap around the waist, like a weight belt or I don't know what to call it, to keep your stomach tight. And they had the other, one of the other uses was that they would use it as a couture or a tampline, which is the sash would go like this. They would tie it in a knot at the end here. And it goes, if you had a hat on or whatever, this would go like this on your head. And your sash would hang down, and you would carry the weight of your packages on your back like that as you were portaging. And after every portage, they would take it off, take the property or the furs out of the sash and put it back into the canoes and off to the next portage. So the sash could be used as a belt or rope, and traditionally it was tied at the waist to hold your coat closed as well. When it was cold or raining or chilly and the not great weather, that would be how they would keep the coats closed. So it has fringed ends, as we can see. And it would serve, these fringed ends could serve as a sewing kit. It could be used on the buffalo hunt. The fringe might also have you might have a key to something. And so you could tie your key onto the fringes of your belt so that you always know where it is. It could be like a key that was left at home, a chest that was left at home, which contains your valuable stuffs to your owner. And you could also put your buffalo knife behind once it's wrapped around. And again, I'll show you that in a moment. You could tuck the knife in that you're using to skin the buffalo. Or it could be used as a fire bag on the side. The sash also served as a tourniquet for injuries, to wrap, or like if you had a broken bone or if you had sprains, you would just wrap it around tightly like we would use a tensor bandage now. They used it as a washcloth. They used it as towels. They used it as a saddle blanket when you were traveling, a bridle, and a marker, especially if you had killed a buffalo, that you could identify it as property of the shooter. So whoever shot the buffalo, you'd stick your sash around, excuse me, and it would indicate that it was property of the Métis. Excuse me. It could be utilized as a rope or a pulley to assist the free traders to haul the trade goods up and down or all along. And it acted like a scarf, and the colors helped identify your allegiance. So that means that every family or maybe every community had their own particular sash and their own colors that they had. Excuse me. So some other uses for the Métis sash, or the Métis sash or the l'Assomption sash, became the most recognizable part of the Métis dress and a symbol of their people. Originally, the sashes were made in a small Quebecois town called l'Assomption, hence their name, the l'Assomption sash. They were also called, and people can certainly correct me or help me out here, ceinture fléchée. The sash was used by the voyageurs of the fur trade, but they became a popular trade item for the Hudson's Bay Company and the Northwest Company and the Western Métis. Eventually, the Métis started producing their own sashes in the Red River area. The first sashes were used as back supports for the voyageurs in their canoes. And the hand-woven sashes were made of brightly colored wool, mainly red and blue. But certain colors and patterns represented different families. And one of the examples that was given is that if you went to a dance or a celebration somewhere in a community or in a different province, families developed or designed their own sashes with their own colors. And one of the examples was that if you went to a dance and you looked over and you're looking along the wall or in the seats where people were sitting, you could identify the families by the colors of their sashes. And then you knew that if that was your cousin, that you would know that was your family. So if you're out to meet new people, you would know that those people were already related to you, and you would try and look for a different colored sash. Not that dancing with your family was not a good thing, but if you were out to meet new friends, you could identify them that way. So the fringed ends of the sashes were decorative, but were also used as an emergency sewing kit. The fringes could be used as extra thread at the end for sewing, or if they needed to mend anything while traveling. And one of the other examples was if you were injured and you would just take the string, a piece of the wool out of the end of the sash. If you had cut yourself badly, you could use these, and I know it sounds terrible, but you could use it to stitch up an injury that you had to give you some time, perhaps if you could make it to a doctor or for better medical attention. So the 3-meter sash was usually wrapped around the midsection of the body, either to keep the coat closed or to hold belongings like a hunting knife or a fire bag. The colorful sash had many uses, including carrying items for your coat, makeshift tump line, which is along your forehead to carry stuff, markers left on a buffalo after a kill to mark a buffalo as your property. It could be used as a tourniquet, again, for injuries, a rope, a saddle blanket, a towel, or a washcloth. Excuse me, I just need to have a little drink. So in the West, the name l'Assomption sash gave way to today's term, the Métis sash. It has been said that this likely occurred because many of the sash-wearing voyageurs were of mixed blood, and the sash was most popular among the Métis of Red River. Today, the Métis sash continues to be an integral part of the Métis cultural celebrations. The Manitoba Métis Federation in a recent time adopted a new color variation for the Métis sash at their annual general meeting. The new chosen color variation is of the original l'Assomption sash, with one exception. The yellow has been replaced with black. There is a rich chapter of Métis history woven into each colored strand. So you ask, how are they made? The finger weaving technique is used to make the sash, and it was firmly established in the Eastern woodland Indian traditions. The technique created tumplines, garters, and other useful household items, and items of clothing. Plant fibers were used prior to the introduction of wool. How long does it take to make a Métis sash? Well, it takes anywhere from 60 to 300 hours. In photos, you can see the sashes were worn as belts around the waist to help keep the coats closed, but eventually the sash has come to be worn over the shoulder as a source of pride. Sashes take many hours to create, and a skilled weaver can make a sash in about 60 to 300 hours, depending on the design and the method. The sash is a physical expression of the blending of two cultures. It takes traditional indigenous finger weaving and it blends it with the woolen materials introduced by the Europeans. The sash originates in the finger weaving traditions of the Anishinaabe people, and they practice elaborate and skilled finger weaving and would weave plant fibers to create items like small bags, tumplines for carrying cradle boards, drag strips for sleds or toboggans, garters or sashes. They use plant fibers made from the inner bark or stripped roots from certain trees. They also use sinew or even hide, all specifically cut for whatever they were making. The act of finger weaving requires immense practice, dexterity, which means movement, and skill. And it was something that was learned and practiced over tens of thousands of hours. Some designs are simple, and others are very advanced and require making more than one sash at a time and weaving it along another to create a seamless design. Some of the most cherished woven pieces were adorned with beads and porcupine quills. When the traders brought in wool, the Anishinaabe and Métis people of the area began using wool to create their sashes, their belts, and bags. It seems that the traditional sashes started in the town of L'Assomption, and its popularity spread across what would become the Métis Nation. The weavers would wax up the threads, which is this, and weave them tightly, making it waterproof, allowing the traders to haul water over short distances. The Métis people also use sashes to store their fish hooks, their keys, as a first aid and a sewing kit, as indicated before. Sashes were worn as belts around the waist to help so their clothing would stay warm, and Eventually, the sash has come to be worn over the shoulder as a source of pride. So now I'm going to talk about a sash. I had indicated that takes from 60 to 300 hours, that it could take that long to make. And depending on the design that is done, I do believe that they have machines like, oh, the word escapes me right now, but to weave on a machine. And some sashes can be sold for like $500 a foot, or about $3,000 for a full sash. So you can just imagine, anyone that has done finger weaving could just imagine the time that would go into creating it in the days of old, doing this type of sash, how long it would take and the work that was put into it. So I think that would be well worth that money at that time. So the colors. Before the iconic red sash, sashes came in many different colors. When plant fibers were used, they were muted and earthly, reflecting the plants that were used. The first sash is believed to be woven, of course, again in the town of L'Assomption, Quebec. This reflects its French heritage. It became a symbol of the Northwest Company and worn by their traders who were of French and Métis heritage. The colors helped unify and identify the otherwise widespread population of traders, while the practicality of the sash meant that it was incredibly useful while out on the land. And as I had indicated before, the minimal that they would have is 2 sashes each person. The sash is one of the most recognized garments worn by the Métis. And traditionally, the sash, or calanture, someone can correct me or pronounce that properly, calanture fléché, was worn by men. But today it can be seen on both genders, either tied around the waist or draped across one shoulder. The sash can come in many different color variations, and in the past, certain colors and patterns were used to identify specific families from various communities. So I'm going to explain the meaning of the colors. There's variations on it, but these are the colors and the explanations that I have. Other people may have different versions. So the red in the sash is for the blood of the Métis that was shed through the years while fighting for our rights. The blue is for the depth of our spirits. The green, and I don't know if you can see the colors of mine, but the green is for the fertility of a great nation. The white color is for our connection to the earth and our creator. The yellow was for the prospect of prosperity, and I do have a little yellow in mine. The black is for the dark period for the suppression and the dispossession of our Métis land. So now I will just demonstrate. So I have this sash here. This one I obtained from, I don't know if people can see, is it too dark? No? Okay. So I got this one from Fort William, our old Fort William in Thunder Bay, Fort William Historical Park. and it has the Northwest Company on it, on the logo, and this was a celebration sash. So this would be the sash that people would wear to dances, or if they were going to parties, house parties, or any type of celebration that was going on. I have several different sizes. So I have this little tiny beaded one that you could wear if you're not wanting to wear the full large sash. You would just wear it on the left side. And again, they come in different sizes. You would just put them on. And of course, this is a weaving. Now this could be used, like as I say, as a tourniquet on your arms. Some were indicated that by tying these, like you could keep your sleeves closer to your body in moving so that your sleeves don't get caught. It could have been used to tie around your legs as a tourniquet for an injury, but also to tie around the bottom of your pants or on your calf to keep your pants closed when you were going hunting in the winter to keep the snow out. So now I will show you. This is my Louis Riel. I call it my Louis Riel sash, but it's a Coventry sash that he wore. I'm going to show you how to put the sash, how to wear the sash. So you're going to take it. You'll start on your left side. I don't know if you can see it properly. You start on your left side, and as you see, the sash is long, long, long. Now, some people fold it over. I prefer to just leave it. You're going to wrap the sash around your waist once, twice, and this fringe should be on your left side. You're now going to take your right hand and bring this sash up through behind, and you will just pull them like that. I don't know if people can see that, but your sash is now tied. It's around your waist, and you're ready to go. You don't want to have your fringes hanging too far down, like to the mid part of your calf, because you might trip, or it could get caught on stuff. It could get caught on doors or on chairs or anything that you're around. So you would try to keep it as high as possible. It's each to their own preference is fine. Now it was also indicated that ladies would wear their sash if you were single. You would just wear your sash over single. Sorry. Yeah, that's my left. I'm looking backwards. You would wear your sash over your left shoulder. And again, you would just tie it up. That would be an indication if you were going out somewhere or just out and about, that young men or other people would be able to see that you were single. That was the indicator. If you're married, you would just turn it around the other way and you would wear your sash on your right shoulder down to your hip, and that would mean that you are married. And that is my presentation for Fun with Flags and the Métis sash. I hope you enjoyed it.
Thank you so much, Deb, on behalf of everyone. That was incredible. And your demonstrations were perfect. And you couldn't even tell you weren't feeling well because your voice was clear as day.
Oh, not here.
Well, thank you so much again. And thank you everybody for staying in tune and listening for Deb's presentation. Now we're going to jump into some questions. If anybody has some at this time, I know some people are making their way through the lessons as we go along. I know that Senator Gwen had brought up a good question prior to the start of our session today in regards to the strings and what way they go, just so people aren't getting the wrong sound going backwards. So I believe if you're holding the fiddle, it is from the, oh, I guess I'm trying to think of the way Gwen was holding it now. Oh gosh, now I'm going to mess it up. So I'm going to stop before I get ahead of myself and make this worse. But Alicia or Gwen, if you want to jump in and show the way you're holding and then explain. I don't have mine on me right now.
Sure, yeah. So if you're holding it, right, you hold your fiddle with your left hand, you bring it up. And then from left to right, it's G, so your lowest string, and then D, and then A, and then E. So from left to right is G, D, A, E. And easy way to remember is good dogs always eat. Bad dogs don't eat, apparently. Good dogs always eat. So yeah, if you're opposite, or if you've strung your strings on the wrong way, and it sounds weird, that's why.
It's just a helpful reminder. Well, yeah, if anybody has any questions, feel free to just raise your hand and the icons there, and we'll call on you. Oh, Gwen.
Actually, just an observation to go along with what Alicia was saying, because while we were doing this, I was sticking it, I was putting the strings on, but I realized that at the very top there where the knobs are, the keys are, that I've got 12 of my strings sort of, I think they got tangled, they're not put on properly. So just to watch for that, because then you can't tune it properly.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Gwen.
which is why we advise people to let someone who knows best how to put on strings. Like, don't try putting on strings yourself.
I'm really good at it now.
Yeah, you're good at it now. And I know you're like musical. So yeah, if you don't have any knowledge of any instrument putting strings on, then yeah, I wouldn't even attempt it. I would probably take it to your music store and let them help you out. But yeah, Gwen, I know you play lots of things. So
I'll get it.
And I see we have maybe another question here from Wayne. See a little girl with her hand up?
When are we gonna talk about the violins?
Fiddles.
Fiddle?
The fiddle? What would you like to know about the fiddle?
You're excited to play.
I'm excited to play.
Yeah? Have you started playing?
Just
We're
today.
late. We're late with the program, but we're just getting in the groove now. We're watching the videos, we're tuning, and we're behind, but we're gonna catch up and enjoying it. It's so thrilling to be involved in this.
Can you see it, Grandpa?
Oh, we're so happy to have you part of it. And if you have any questions, just let us know. And don't worry about being behind. This is at everybody's pace. So don't worry about that. We're just happy to have you aboard.
Thank you.
Mommy,
Oh, I seen some hands up. Maybe Jessica? Is that a hand up there? Oh. Oh, I see another hand. Deb?
Jessica, Elena. My mom is Jessica.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay,
Elena,
well,
you said-
tell. You're the one who wanted me. No, you do. What was it?
It's okay. You guys can both tell.
He wants to know his dino shirt.
Pardon?
Show him. He
Oh, you
wants to
wanna
show you his
your
dino shirt.
Oh, is that a Christmas dinosaur? Oh, super cool.
In the same pants.
And matching pants. Those are awesome. Very cool. Getting ready for Christmas? Excited?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
You gonna
It's
ask for
snowing
more
at our
instruments? Oh, that's awesome. Thank you for showing your shirt. Deb, you had a question?
Yes, I was just curious. Is anybody else getting calluses on their fingers yet from playing?
Calluses? Yes. I don't know about anybody else, but this is my first string instrument and I am feeling it.
What they do?
If you don't have calluses, then you're not practicing enough. You need to practice more.
Yeah, and over time you'll get more and more comfortable with that feeling, and then eventually you just feel totally natural. But you'll definitely notice a little bit of a like tougher skin on the tip of your fingers.
And I seen here, Teresa asked, does Kelly know someone in Penetang or Midland who would provide in-person fiddle lessons?
Yes, I do. Teresa, if you want, I think Brooklyn and could connect us together and by email or something like that. If you don't mind, Brooklyn, you can help us to connect, and I'd be happy to chat with you about that, Teresa. Thank you for asking.
Yeah, for sure. And I see Monique and Jocelyn.
Hi there. Sorry, I was a little late getting here. Had to work late, so I
That's
missed
okay.
the whole thing. But I do see that it was recorded, and maybe you already covered this. But is there a way to watch it after the recording
Yeah.
from today?
So going forward, I connected with the team, got everybody's permission. So all the live sessions will be pre-recorded and posted on the same YouTube channel that the lessons are.
Oh, excellent. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Perfect.
And Sam, I see a hand up there.
Okay, you can ask Lila.
I'm having trouble to hold my fiddle. And my bow.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you want them to show you? Yeah, maybe someone can show you.
Yeah, for sure. It's not easy to do it. So
Yeah, she's got little arms.
it's great that you're
Stand up.
trying. Do you want to show us your fiddle?
Yeah. Let's see here. Okay. So remember this hand. Show them how you were doing it, and then they can give you maybe some tips.
Do I use my bow?
Yeah, you can after, but just show them the fiddle part. Yeah, you lift it up a bit. There you go. That's not too bad.
You're actually doing quite well. You can bring it a little bit.
Listen to the lady.
Make sure you bring it right up on your shoulder here. And I'm wondering if that fiddle might be just a little bit big for you. And when you grow a little bit more, it might get a little bit more comfortable for you as you grow.
Yeah.
I don't know, Alicia, just from seeing it like this, does that look like a little bit of a big fiddle for a small person?
It's a little large.
It's a little bit big. Yeah.
Yeah, you can show her quick. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
When I fiddle, it's not too good.
Maybe just a bit too hard on you. You're getting it. Good. Okay. Now listen. So did you hear what they said, Lila? It's just maybe just a bit too big, and that's why you're having trouble.
Yeah, it looks like it might be a bit big for you, Lila, but do you know what? I was really impressed because you're already able to do each string and make it sound actually pretty good for someone who just started. So you can just keep practicing. And I think this is something that you'll probably notice as you're learning fiddle, and this is for everybody, no matter what age you are. It's a pretty big challenge. It's not easy. It's not easy. And it takes a lot of patience. So what I would say is if you find a little bit of time every day to pick it up for a few minutes, you'll notice every week, you'll notice that you're getting a little bit better, and it'll be just a little bit at a time, but you'll definitely get there with a lot of patience, a lot of patience for sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great job.
Hi, Marley and Tim. I see you raised your hand.
Hey, so really quick question. In my fiddle case, there came a little box. So I'll just turn my camera on. So there's a little box. Sorry, my light's on. But it looks like this, and it says that on the front, if you guys can see. I was just wondering what that is. Like, it's just kind of black.
Yeah, I'll take that. So that is something called rosin, and you definitely need that. You will need that for your bow. You're actually gonna rub that black stuff on your bow. Give me a second. So mine looks a little different. It's in a blue case, but yeah, similar to yours. Ooh. So yeah, you're actually gonna rub that black stuff on your bow, which is over here. Because without it, your bow is not gonna make a lot of noise. Like if you were to try to play anything, it would just sound very soft. So yeah, definitely need your rosin. So you would tighten your bow just a little bit, about a pencil's width, and rub that all over your bow. And Kelly has a really neat trick. If you need, sometimes when you first rosin, it's like a fresh rosin, it's hard to get that stuff sticking to your bow. So if you file it down a little bit with a nail file, just so it has some grooves in it, and then you can start with the rosining. Yeah, so just kind of going up and down your bow a few times, I don't know, like 30 seconds worth, and then you should be good to go.
How often do you think we should do that?
Good question, depending on how often you're playing. Yeah, you could probably get away with once a week. If you're playing like a couple times. Yeah, if you're playing like 3-4 times a week, you probably could do it once a week. If you're only playing twice a week, you should probably get away with it like every second week. Just depends on how often you're playing. If you're playing every single day, you probably definitely need to do once a week. Which everyone should be doing once a week or every day, right?
Yay, thank you.
It's kind of a non-answer. It just depends on how much you're playing. But if you find that your bow is not gripping, like it's sliding a lot, that's kind of a key thing to look out for. And it might be that you need some rosin. So when you play with your fiddle, you should actually see a little bit of dust coming off of your fiddle. And it's not smoke, it's the rosin.
Awesome. And I think we'll have Evan and Landon as our last question of the night. And then Deb, if you're okay to pray us out after, that would be awesome.
What's the difference between these two?
That's a really good question. Do you know what? They look quite similar. They probably are both rosin, just as Alicia was showing. But so rosin actually comes from tree resin, if I'm not mistaken. So each tree would have maybe a little bit of a different kind of color to it. So if you look at mine almost looks brownish reddish in the light. And it looks like you had a lighter colored one and maybe like a deeper brown colored one, which is really cool. To be honest, I'm not sure if there's a huge difference other than it probably came from different types of trees. So maybe you'll notice one of them is more sticky than the other, but they probably both will work. That's a really good question though. That's awesome.
Thank you so much, everybody, for all your questions. And if there's nothing further, I just want to remind everybody to make sure they're checking in on themselves and their family members as we're reaching the darker hours and winter is fast approaching. Sometimes that comes with the winter blues. So just make sure everyone's taking care of themselves, enjoying the music that you're all creating and enjoying that time together as well, okay? If you ever need anything, you know how to reach out to me or anybody local to you, okay? And I'll pass it off to Deb to pray us out.
Thank you, Brooklyn. Creator, thank you for all the good things in our lives and all the good gifts you have given us. Thank you for the seasons, for new life, and for your presence among us. O Great Spirit, we live in a culture full of music, and music is universal. Music is a wonderful gift, and we thank you for that gift. We thank you, Great Spirit, for the gifts and the gifts of song and hymns and the opportunity to sing and learn and to play our traditional music together. And I would also like to say thank you for all the wonderful smiling faces of the young children that are participating in this, because they are the ones that are going to carry on this tradition for us. Merci, miigwech. Thank you.
Merci, miigwech, Deb and Gwen and everybody else, Kelly and Alicia, for being here and supporting us in this journey of musical development. So thank you, everybody, and have a great night.
Thank you. You too. Good night.